What's going on, Sports 2.0 Network followers? What's going on, Central Illinois? Welcome into the Colten Kahler Show, hosted by yours truly. Pleased to be joined tonight by Mr. Rodney Newpol. Rodney, how are you? It's been a while since you've been on the airwaves here.
Yeah, man, I'm doing good. I was just thinking back. It was, was that week one? It was week one, right? I think it was week one. I was on with you.
Of my remember. Show? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So 9 weeks ago, man, I've followed along. You're doing a good job, Colten. I know the people enjoy your Thursday night. So thanks for having me. Glad to jump back on with you tonight.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. But speaking in terms of your show, the put together, I think it's been what, since before you went to Vegas?
Yeah, man, we're kind of on we're planning it out, trying to figure out the best plan of attack. I've got these three little kids that run around my house. I guess they're mine, and they make me do things, and they make me go places, and I got responsibilities, and so I'm finding that Wednesday and Sunday nights are becoming very difficult. I'm finding that I much prefer one co-host as opposed to lots of co-hosts because, the continuity is just, you got to get in the flow. So I don't know. I'm planning something out. Maybe 2022 have a relaunch of sorts. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see.
You got time to figure it out.
Yeah, I might pop on every once in a while. I do the USA Wager Sports Brief every morning, 9:30 a.m. Central Time, right here on the Sports 2.0 Network. But that's just 10 minutes. Talks about last night, talks about today, and I might pop on here or there every once in a while. But yeah, that's me. And but it's been 9 weeks since I've been on with you. I'm excited about tonight.
I believe 2 weeks ago I had your old co-host and good friend Tim Van Straten on.
Yeah. Good to see that Tim's doing well. Tim's really doing well. I'm enjoying his work, his writing. And I do got to say though, Colten, I don't know if Tim will ever hear this, but like his work is too much Lakers. There's just too much Lakers. Like there's 30 teams in the NBA, Tim. I don't have to hear about the Lakers. They're not good.
See, I don't mind it because I'm a Lakers fan.
Correct.
But Tim and I do talk a lot about the Lakers and how much we hate them right now. I've kind of put them in timeout, if you will.
Like, they're no good.
They're not. And we all knew it was going to happen. At least Tim and I did. We all saw this coming, except I guess obviously the Lakers front office. So, but let's start there. Let's start in basketball. Obviously, we talked before we came on. Ohio State's losing at the half to Xavier. Do you have a score on that right now?
Yeah, I mean it was just half, so it's probably just getting ready to start the second half. It hasn't even started second half. 35-26. The Musketeers. Now that is at the Centos Center in Cincinnati. So while it would be an upset, 2.5-point favorite for the Buckeyes, I don't know how much of an upset it is. I mean, Xavier's a good program. Xavier is a good program that will win games like this. So not overly surprised, but, you and your Big Ten, it's another Big Ten team going to get beat early.
And, good teams lose early in the year. Ohio State's overrated, in my opinion. So is Michigan, but it's beyond the point. Illinois, I think, was rightfully kind of in the right spot at about 10-11. I think it's going to take them a bit to kind of get going. I mean, it's a lot of new players and a lot of new positions. I think at the end of the year, they'll be obviously a lot better of a team, but I think overall they will be much better this year than what they were last year, in my opinion. But I will say they don't have that go-to guy right now.
Yeah.
And that go-to guy is in the NBA. There's guys on the team that are that go-to guy. They just it's going to take time to find it.
Yeah, and that would be my concern with your orange and blue diamond team is that everybody loved Io last year, and now we're finding out why. I mean, Io was very good. He still is a good player. He's going to have a good NBA career. That's pretty evident already. But when you needed a shot late, it was Io. When you needed it to a steal late or a stop late, it was Io was part of that. I mean, Trent Frazier, I don't know if he's that guy. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Curbelo, I think you got to see that Curbelo's got a little bit of maturity issues, and he's going to have to grow up a little bit to get the ball to Kofi in a spot like that. And then, if the ball gets into Kofi late in the game, if I'm the other team, I probably take a hack at him. Maybe I get away with it. Maybe he goes to free throw line. So I think there are some big time questions to be concerned about your orange and blue diamond team. But in the end, I mean, let's be honest, they are a top 15, top 10 team. They are. But is that good enough? And I think Brad Underwood's got to figure out this year how to coach his team a little bit differently to be ready for the postseason a little bit more than they were last year. Because, I mean, they peed down their pants last year. They peed down their leg. The one game all year that IO wasn't ready, wasn't prepared, wasn't confident, they lost.
Yeah, and I think, that's if Illinois and Loyola played 10 times last year, Illinois probably wins 8 or 9 of those matchups. They just kind of lost that 1 or 2 matchup. And, that's the unfortunate part of the NCAA tournament. But, looking at Illinois this year, yeah, I think Monday goes a lot differently if, Kofi doesn't have to deal with that stupid suspension. Because I think Jim made the point this last week where, there was a time where Curbelo got his shot blocked, and that never really happened a lot last year because when Curbelo's driving, that defense isn't coming over to help because they're staying on Kofi because you're not going to leave him. So it opens up a lot of other opportunities. But so far, I've not been impressed with Alfonso Plummer. He was supposed to be kind of that sharpshooter guy and just hasn't quite found his rhythm yet. Coleman Hawkins has been surprised. Well, I wouldn't say not surprising for me, but to a lot of people.
Right.
And as long as he keeps his mouth shut, I think we'll be all right. Trent Frazier, DeMonte, they're going to be the guys, and they're kind of the leaders of this group. I'm not worried about them at all. There is depth, but again, they've got to find that player down the stretch. And, Curbelo had, 7 turnovers the other night?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really, for him, that's not if he goes about 5 turnovers a game, that's about average for him. He had 10 turnovers against an NAIA school. So,
right. Yeah, and you brought up the point, one of the players, if they keep their mouth shut, I almost wonder if they have a little too much swag early in the year. What I mean by that is they are confident, but I almost wonder if they're too confident. And I kind of wondered that with the Brad Underwood comments of, and I get it. Don't get me wrong. I get it. You've got to sell your program. You've got to promote your program. But I really was kind of taken aback by the we're sexy again. I mean, while you're a top 10 program, I mean, you lost in the round of 32 last year. You still haven't done anything yet to be sexy. So while that recruit picked Illinois and you've got 3 straight years of great recruit, like sexy is getting to the Final Four, Brad. It just is.
To be fair, they arguably should have been the regular season Big Ten championship.
Sure. But they weren't.
Because Michigan decided not to play a game. Yeah. And then they went and beat everyone in the Big Ten championship. And they kind of, it was a lot of work to get to that point. And I think once, they got back to winning that championship, the Big Ten championship, and getting to, the tournament, it kind of solidified Illinois as being back, or I wouldn't say back, but, relevant. Because, yeah, John Gross had 2 good years, but Illinois, he was carried by a lot of good players.
They're very relevant, but Colten, what's sexy in NCAA basketball?
Obviously, Final Fours and championships, but there's very few teams. There's about 4 teams that can probably consistently say that. Yeah. So, it's kind of an unfair judgment, for.
But I wouldn't even call Michigan. I wouldn't even call Michigan sexy. And they didn't win any championships. That's what I'm saying. Like I felt like the word was a little too, I don't know. If Brad Underwood goes out and says we're back, okay, maybe you're back. You're back to being relevant. You're back to being a good top tier program. But like sexy to me was like we're winning national championships, and he hasn't got there yet. So that's just kind of my take on that one.
No, and the NBA is going on as well, and I hate the NBA. I really do. It's so terrible to watch, and partially because of how much I just hate the Lakers right now. But also, I mean, honestly, I watched the Bulls game last night, and it was actually kind of fun because they're a fun team to watch right now. They kind of do the right things. They hustle. Yeah. They actually play defense, and they care, which you could probably not say for about 99% of the other NBA teams. Right. So it's just a brand of basketball that I just cannot follow anymore.
Well, back on that. So Billy Donovan's a good basketball coach, and he he is a college coach coaching an NBA team. And he's actually, I'm not saying he's the quality of a high school coach, because he would literally be the best high school coach in the world. But he's a high school coach mentality, a grinder, a get the job done right type guy, coaching NBA players. So I really like Billy Donovan, and I think he's going to do good things with the Bulls. I mean, I think your Lakers, I mean, they're unwatchable. They're just not even fun to watch. But I think there are teams that can be fun to watch. Now, who are they? I think that depends on what night they're playing, what week they're playing. I mean, I still love watching the Warriors play. I think they do most things right. But in the end, they just score points enough to win. I mean, Steph Curry is their offense, and that's what it goes through. You got Andrew Wiggins having a career year. But then other teams, like, I don't know. I mean, Utah Jazz play the game right, but they're not really that fun to watch. So NBA is what it is. It'll be a good thing Christmas Day. We'll watch it Christmas Day. It'll be good when the playoffs start, because that'll be fun. It's good to bet on every once in a while. And if there's no college games, turn it on. But
that's kind of the part that I'm waiting for, is just to be able to bet on. It might make it a little bit more interesting to watch, because right now, watching the Lakers game last night, Anthony Davis could not look like he cares less. I mean,
they might not.
And hell, if I had to play with Russell Westbrook, I wouldn't care either. I would.
Yeah, I mean, the Lakers are 8-8. They already know that they just need to be in the top 10 to have a chance. You have to be in the top 10 to make that one-game playoff.
Yep.
Of course, they want to be a better seed, but they know realistically they're probably not going to be a top 4 seed. So if you get in the top 10, and you never know from there. And some people say, well, they don't want to play that one-game playoff. Why not? I mean, it's another game.
What's one extra game?
Yeah, right. So, I mean, you're 10 games. You're about 15 games into the season out of 82, and it's hard. It's hard for them, I would imagine, to be excited about playing every night. And so that's where we're at. I think the Lakers will turn on a little bit. I don't know what their ceiling is in the West. I mean, they're not better than the Warriors. They're not better than the Suns. They're probably not better than the Jazz or Mavericks or Clippers or Nuggets. So what are you, like a 7 seed is your ceiling?
They are better than no one right now until they get rid of Russell Westbrook.
They're better than the Rockets.
That is true. That is true.
And the Pelicans, probably the Spurs. That's about it in the West. In the East, they're better than the Pistons, because Metamora's 4th grade is better than the Pistons, and they're probably better than the Magic. That's about it.
Yeah, no, it's pretty rough. It's getting that time of the year. High school basketball is going to start kicking back up, but it's still football season for you. I know you don't care about high school football.
We shouldn't say don't care. I don't sit out in 28-degree weather and watch it. We won't go as far as saying don't care, because I got to care. The Potters or Hogs are playing. Go Hogs. But Kankakee's pretty good.
Kankakee is very good. I think Morton might see the athleticism they have not seen all year.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, go ahead.
It'll be interesting to see how the nation's leading rusher matches up with some of that speed.
Yeah. So, I mean, just score comparison. I mean, Kankakee blew the doors off of Washington. Yes. And they blew the doors off of Crete Monet. Crete Monet beat Washington pretty big.
Blew the doors off of Washington last year.
Yeah, so I'm a little concerned, but Tim Briley's doing a good job. Obviously Seth Glatz is outstanding, and a lot of people don't talk about that offensive line. Shout out Mac Anderson, a family friend of ours. In fact, my nephew is that class. Now, he doesn't go to Morton. He did. He lives in Florida now, but knows a lot of those guys. They're good kids. It's a good group. It's a fun group, and obviously, the town is super excited for Saturday in Kankakee, 3:00.
They're buzzing right now. It'll be a good game. But also around Thanksgiving, we get back into basketball. Where's Morton at to start the year?
Oh man, I don't even know. I'm wondering if they even have enough players.
Really?
Well, I mean, I don't know. A lot of them are going to play football, but right? I mean,
well, that is true.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know where they play, to be honest with you.
Metamora starts at the Kevin Brown Memorial Tournament Champions, first year that we're ever in that. We've typically been in the Ottawa Thanksgiving Tournament, which, if you've never been to Ottawa High School, first off, it's a gem.
Yep.
It's beautiful. But also, I mean, they have by far the best hospitality of any school in the state of in the United States, any state.
State of the
It's
United States.
unbelievable.
So I do got to say, Colten, for spending 4 years as a varsity assistant and several years before that coaching various places, like that is a huge key right there. Like you're good right there. Hospitality rooms mean a lot, especially to coaches, administrators, media guys like you. You're right, hospitality. But I do have an answer for you. Salt Fork comes to Morton on Tuesday.
Salt Fork, okay.
Salt Fork, and then Plano. It's an odd Morton schedule, and then Marion High School. Odd schedule for the
Marion Catholic or just Marion?
No, just Marion. And then they start the conference season on the 30th with Dunlap. It's an odd schedule. I don't know if the Potters couldn't get guys to come down. Salt Fork is a little guy. Let me look how many that is, but they're little. They're little. So I'll look that up.
Metamora gets Springfield Lanphier on Tuesday. Good game to start the season. And then they get St. John Bosco on Wednesday. St. John Bosco might be one of the greatest football programs in the state of Illinois.
Yeah.
I mean, they are ridiculous. And they had, I believe, a 6'8" kid and a 6'6" kid in their starting lineup. I think the 6'8", one of the two kids is like left the school or whatnot, but he was getting a lot of looks, and I don't know what happened there, but that'll still be a good game. I think Metamora is going to be the team to beat in the Middle Illini this year. They bring everybody back.
So I do have an answer. Salt Fork, 254 students. The Storm come to town from Vermilion County in Catlin, Illinois. Salt Fork.
Okay.
Tuesday. Should get a win no matter who plays, right? Play your sophomore team. You should be all right.
You would think. But no, it's Washington Tournament Champions is always a good tournament to go to. Where you see typically you see a lot of future NBA players, the likes of Zion, Miles Turner, Anthony Davis. I think Yogi Ferrell, Victor Oladipo played in that. Yeah. A lot of other guys. Nerlens Noel.
Colten, that's a good idea for you. You should do a show from the event.
You think?
I mean, all you need is your phone, right?
Well, that's true. Probably hook up my laptop some way. Wouldn't be a bad idea.
I don't know. Just throwing it out there. So, I mean, you're not going to do a Thanksgiving one. You could do a special live from the
Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, it's open. You could do a special live from the Kevin Brown Memorial Tournament of Champions. I don't know. Just a thought. Anyways,
might have to keep that going. I know Jim and Mike are going to be there one of the days. They're doing their show live from there.
Yep.
I don't know what day that is, but it's getting that time of the year. Basketball season is back, and I'm excited for it.
Back. Yep.
MLB today, they named the MVPs, Ohtani in the AL and Harper in the NL. I mean, pretty not a shocker on either side there, really.
No, and I don't know as if either of the Cy Youngs were all that much of a shocker either. I mean, I the only shock it was that, like, if you would have said in March those two guys were going to win the Cy Young, yeah, it would have been a shocker. I mean, Robbie Ray and who was the other one?
Hauser?
Oh, no.
Burns. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't have guessed that in March. But yeah, Corbin Burns and Robbie Ray, Cy Young, say Bryce Harper and Shohei Ohtani. I don't think either of those is a surprise, and both worth it, both worthy of the cause, and both getting paid well. So I wish the Cardinals had one of those guys.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. I think it sounds all rumors Marcus Stroman's coming to St. Louis.
I'm okay with that. I think. But so what do you want to see out of Marcus Stroman? I mean, obviously it's hard to determine like a win-loss, but I mean, are we looking at obviously I'd like to see 30 starts out of him.
Right. No, he's going to be your guy that's probably going to be around a 3 ERA, I would think. But I mean, he is going to load the innings up for you because he's been able to pretty well stay healthy for most of his career. And when you look at it, you're like, why can't you get that out of a Miles Michaelis, who's kind of that same guy who could eat innings? But the problem is since 2016, he has not been, one, healthy, and two, he's not been that good.
Correct.
And so, while Michaelis is probably the much cheaper option, you don't have the kind of guarantee of being happy. Well, and Tom brings up a great point here. Stroman will love the defense. Stroman has, I believe, one of the highest ground ball rates as a pitcher in like the last 6 years, and the Cardinals have the best defense in
Yep.
baseball. So, that infield he will absolutely love. And even if it gets to the outfield, hey, we won 2 of the 3 Gold Gloves. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like Marcus Stroman. I like him a lot. I mean, I don't know I haven't paid attention enough to know what the contract details would be. I mean, obviously he didn't pitch in 2020, but made 33 starts last year. I'll take that.
I think he's in like the 10 to 15 range is kind of
Yeah,
where they're thinking.
yeah. I mean,
Which
yeah, it's not surprising. I mean,
throw a
you
dog a
look at
bone.
yeah, I mean, you look at the pitching market. Justin Verlander just signed for what, 25 million.
Right.
Syndergaard's gonna pitch like 9 innings and make like $1 billion. So
28
yeah,
million.
yeah. And Marcus Stroman's gonna be 31 years old. So what are you looking at? You're looking at a 3-year deal. I don't.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Three for
30,
well,
35.
yeah, I mean, if you're looking at 15 a year, you're looking at more like 45, 3 for 40, 3 for 45. I don't know. Yeah, I don't mind the deal if it's in place. You would probably have a little better pulse of the Cardinal free agency right now than I've been a little out of it. One thing I do know is it sounds like most free agents are going to sign over the next couple of weeks to try to avoid the labor lockout that might be coming out. So, yeah, I mean, Marcus Stroman helps the team. Period. He just
What do
does.
you think of the claims that they want another big bat in the lineup? Obviously, I think the one position that everybody knows that they need to fill is the shortstop position. And who knows what they're going to do with that. I pray to God they don't go get Trevor Story and overpay for that. Would you contemplate taking a guy like Javi Baez?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. But you got to bat him seventh.
Right.
You got to bat him seventh and say, go ahead and hit 30 home runs and be really good in the field. I mean, because arguably he could be a Gold Glover. He has been a Gold Glover. He is a good defender. Whether we like to admit it as Cardinal fans, we like to make fun of him when he makes errors, but he does. It's that some of the things he does is absolutely outstanding. I mean, if you're not going to get Javi Baez, somebody like Carlos Correa, but I mean, you're going to have to pay up, and pay
Right.
up for him. Yeah, I'd take Javi Baez, but again, you got to bat him seventh in that lineup.
Right. And I think you can fix the strikeout issue. I don't think there's really been someone to do that for him right now. And I think it's a lot of him just being more disciplined. I mean, that's obviously what it comes down to.
Yeah, but I don't know as if I mean, obviously I don't want 200 strikeouts, but I don't know as if I care that he strikes out 150 times if he hits 30 home runs.
Right. It's not much different than
Yeah.
Tyler O'Neill.
Right.
But
yeah.
Here's my problem is with this team. They're claiming they need another bat to keep up with everybody else. For Christ's sakes, they had 3 guys hit over 30 home runs and 100 RBIs last year. What more power bats do you need?
Yeah, I mean, going back to Baez, he struck out 184 times last year. That was his career high. I mean, but if you could lower that to 150 and then he hits his 30 home runs like he did this year, I mean, I'm all in at batting seventh. I mean, you're batting seventh though, Javi, if you can accept that or not. Maybe 6. You could move Yachty to 7th. You could, if you're going to bat Bader 8th. I don't know if that's the plan. I don't see Bader as a leadoff guy yet. I mean, he's going to have to produce a little bit better for me to want to put him at leadoff. But 6 or 7 for Baez, hit 30 home runs, strike out 150 times, and call it a year.
Right. Well, and he would probably come in on probably a 1-2 year deal, I would assume at most. I mean, it's going to be a trial and error kind of thing. Because if he does great, then you sign him to possibly a long-term deal. But if not, you cut him loose and, see. But this front office, with it being a last year for Waino and for Yachty, if they don't do everything in their power to try and go win a championship, they have failed those two miserably.
Yeah, and I think Baez has a ring. I mean, he knows how to do some things in the postseason, but it's one of those things. I think Baez is one of the 2 or 3 best guys you could put at that spot. And again, a 1-year deal, I think, would be ideal. Hey, you're going out, your job is to help Yachty and Adam win one more title. And then, it is Gorman, Gorman's coming up and, you've got a couple other guys there, but Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with Javier Baez. If he signs back with the Cubs, I hate him again. But if he signs with the Cardinals, I mean, I could accept the guy for a little bit.
Oh yeah, I definitely could too. Give Gorman. I don't think Gorman's quite ready. I mean, he's on his way. Him and Libby, I don't think they're quite ready. But give them half a year to a year more in AAA, and they
Right.
might be ready by next year. You've got to figure out what to do with guys like Juan Yepes and with Kramer Robertson, who are kind of knocking at that door, but they haven't seen major league action at all.
Right.
Do you contemplate trading a possible Nolan Gorman or maybe a Lars Nootbaar? I mean, I think you keep Nootbaar year round as kind of that fourth outfielder for off days in case someone gets injured, whatnot. He's a great option to have, but you've got to, because Corey Seager is probably the best option that I'd like you to go after, but you're not going to get in a bidding war with the Yankees and the Dodgers. That's just not going to happen. The Cardinals aren't going to do that. So, you look at possibly getting Max Scherzer as well. He said he's entertained to listening. If the Cardinals are able to make him a pitch for 3 years, they get Stroman for possibly. I like that rotation of Wainwright, Flaherty, Stroman, and Scherzer, and pick your fifth.
Well, I mean, you got Dakota Hudson.
Right. Yeah, he's coming back.
They're talking about maybe moving Reyes to rotation. They're talking about Hicks possibly in a rotation. Like you said, you got Flaherty, you got Wainwright. But I mean, you got to predict. You got to think you're going to lose a starter at some point, whether it's for the year or for a short amount of time. So,
right.
Having a little depth ain't going to hurt anything.
No.
And I mean, I don't know. Can you count on Adam Wainwright starting 30 games again? I don't know. So it'll be interesting. But yeah, I don't know as if I see Scherzer coming over.
I don't think so either. But
yeah.
it's still an option you got to keep open, because if he says he's willing to listen, I mean, he's a Missouri kid, Chesterfield. He's got to like the area. Chance to end it at home. You never know.
Yeah.
But we'll see. And you look at possibly if the DH, if that comes to the NL, that opens a whole lot of other opportunities. If that opens, I'd like for the Cardinals to go after Schwarber. I think you put him at the leadoff spot, let him hit 30 tanks a year, I think he'll be all right.
So now you're talking about Schwarber and Baez in the Cardinal lineup, huh?
Yeah, I'd take it in a heartbeat. I would take it in a heartbeat.
Well, yeah, I mean, probably. That would be interesting. I don't know if I see Schwarber either. I probably. And if it's not Schwarber, it's probably not going to be Pujols either. It's probably going to be somebody like
Juan Yepes.
Yeah, or Kevin Kiermaier or somebody. I know he's a good player too, but I don't. Yeah, I mean Schwarber's fine, but I can't see him coming to St. Louis. We'll see.
We could talk about Cardinals baseball all day, but it's off season. Let's get to football. College football is really boring this year. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because since beginning of the year, I'm like, yep, Alabama, Georgia, that's about it. And then probably Ohio State will play their way into it. Can we please just put Ohio State past Oregon in the rankings?
State. No, because they lost to them.
Obviously, it doesn't matter if the committee's going to put Michigan in front of Michigan State. What's it matter?
No, it doesn't. But no, I'm not. No, I'm not putting Ohio State ahead of Oregon. Oregon beat them in Columbus. It
was week 2.
Yeah, well.
Apparently, week 2 matters more than week 9 to the playoff committee.
Well, it kind of does, because if this was week 9, Ohio State would have dropped to number 9 with 3 weeks to go. They've had their way to move it up. They're fortunate they lost in week 2, because again, if this was week 9, Ohio State wouldn't be in the top 5. They would have been booted out, because that's just how it works as they fall down. I will always say, a head-to-head, the team that beat the other team should be ahead. I mean,
right. No, and I agree. But if you're not going to put Michigan State in front of Michigan, then why are you keeping Oregon in front of Ohio? Because quite honestly, Ohio State right now is the much better team, in my opinion. Their offense has kind of figured out how to get it going. Defensively, can they put some stops together? We'll find out. The Big Ten is kind of weak this year, in my opinion. It really is.
Yeah, but here's the deal on Michigan State. They're going to have to win anyway. Michigan State and Michigan are both going to have one. They're going to have to beat Ohio State. I mean, that.
Right.
So to me, like the committee can do that, but they're going to play themselves out. I mean, if Michigan beats Ohio State, then they will be ahead of Michigan State. If Michigan State beats, so that's going to play itself out. I'm okay with Oregon, Ohio State if they're both getting in 3-4. Fine, it doesn't matter. I mean, it does. It matters who you play, but I'm okay with it. A lot of people don't want Cincinnati in there, but they've won every game they've played, and they probably have the best win outside of Oregon. Maybe Notre
Right.
Dame.
Do you put a Cincinnati team in there?
I do if they're undefeated. I mean, I was a big Central Florida guy back in those days. I thought they should have been in. I mean, they won every game. They ran their schedule. Maybe some of them looked ugly, but they beat Notre Dame. I mean, Notre Dame's number 7?
Well, and I think it's honestly like, besides about a couple of teams, college football is just watered down this year in general. I mean, it really is.
Yeah, it's not very good.
Notre Dame is not very good. And we'll still fight, but I still think Georgia and Alabama are kind of light years ahead of everybody else. Had Alabama not kind of been in a little bit of had they not played their worst game against Texas A&M, probably playing their best game, we wouldn't be in this situation. We would be already looking forward to the SEC championship and then the college football championship between those two teams. But I think that's just kind of why I've been kind of checked out with college football this year. It's just,
I mean, you're going to get outraged when Georgia beats Alabama in the SEC title game and Alabama stays at 4. You're going to get a lot of outrage because there's going to be a 2-loss team. But then you're going to have a Cincinnati team. You're going to have a 1-loss Notre Dame, because Michigan and Michigan State are probably going to lose another game. They both have Ohio State. Or Ohio State's going to lose another game. I mean, so those teams are going to have 2 losses, but you are going to get outraged because Alabama, if they lose to Georgia, still going to be 4.
Right.
Then they're going to have to play again.
It's honestly, it's ironic how things come full circle, because if we were still in the BCS world, Cincinnati would be in the top 2.
Yep.
And it's kind of funny that those that wanted to get rid of the BCS because they were kind of crying because it's Alabama, Texas, Oklahoma, those guys all the time. You see, if we were still at the BCS, we wouldn't be dealing with this Cincinnati stuff. You would have seen UCF, there years ago, whatnot. It's kind of ironic to me, but that's, it's the world of college football.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it. I mean, you look at like 9, 10, 11. Oklahoma State's not good. Wake Forest isn't that good. Even Baylor's not that good. Ole Miss isn't that good. So you're right. I mean, there's really like 5 teams that I would consider for 4 spots. And to me, the second lost team should probably be the team out. But then I'm kind of speaking out of both ears here because I think a 2-loss Alabama should probably still be in. So I mean, it's going to play itself out for the most part because, again, Ohio State will deserve it if they beat Michigan State. They beat Michigan. They win the Big Ten title game. They should be in. Oregon should really be in if they win all their games, the Pac-12 title game. I mean, so those two teams have they have it right in front of them. They just do. They're not going to get past if they win all their games.
I want to touch real quickly on our hockey team. What's going on? I mean, this is bad.
Yeah. I mean, they've had a few guys floating in and out of the lineup. The Blues have with, a couple of injuries and COVID. They had lost O'Reilly for a while. They kind of lost their edge a little bit. 8-5-2, you think about it. And it's like, well, it doesn't sound like that bad of a record, but it's not real good. I mean, it's 4th in the Central. It's like 9th in the West. I've always said, and even the team that won the championship, I wasn't sure they could score enough. They ended up obviously being able to. I just don't know as if they have the roster to score enough to be consistently great. I don't know. I mean, Tarasenko's obviously scoring goals for them, but he's still a little beat up in my opinion. So I don't know. I mean, this just might be who they are. They might just be average.
I think the issue is they've kind of had a lot of injuries and they've had a lot of guys floating in and out of the COVID list. So it's kind of hard to keep a consistent lineup.
Yep.
And obviously with all the issues, with bringing Sundqvist back, not having Shen and whatnot, they struggle at scoring 5-on-5. I mean, I don't know what it is. But David Perron's been pretty well missing in action for about the last 2.5 weeks. Kairu's been really, really kind of a mainstay along with Tarasenko this year. But after that, it kind of Torrey Krug though did have my quote of the year. At times, we just play really stupid.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've seen them recently with like no look passes. Like it doesn't work in
No.
the National Hockey League. The teams are too good. Even Colorado or even Arizona, who obviously is no good, will take advantage of stupidity, and
Right.
that's what happened the other night.
They've lost their last 3, 6 out of their last 8. They'll try and scrape it tonight against the Sharks. That game's just now underway. And I'm gonna plug here St. Louis sports. If you're paying attention, I dump a lot of my knowledge and my opinion on that site. So give it a look. And I post articles daily. So give it a listen and give us your feedback on that.
Yeah, I'm going to send them there. I mean, Colten, that's my adopted baby. So I mean, it's in your hands. As I have moved on to other things, it's in your hands. You're doing a good job with it, and I hope to get back and contribute a little bit after some of our madness slows down here. But yeah, stlouissports.com, and I know you're following the Twitter. I hope you're getting rid of some of the trolls on Twitter.
I really haven't. Well, our influx of followers has actually been pretty. We're up over 2,300 now.
There you go.
So that's good. We're getting quite a few. We're getting at least 5 a day or so right now, at least. So that's good. But there's a lot of bots on there that are following it. So
right.
What are you gonna do? It's Twitter.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, we'll end with our pick'em here. It's a little bit of a, we're not really gonna keep score this week. Won't be towards the overall total. But and we're looking at Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's next week, obviously. Top 3 Thanksgiving dishes. Go.
Well, first, so are we going to talk? First of all, I will get to that. First of all, I want to say this: the Falcons win tonight, and I don't care what Tanner Kern says. Nobody, and I mean nobody, likes the Patriots except for Tanner Kern and Dave Portnoy. And nobody thinks the Patriots are any good besides Tanner Kern and Dave Portnoy. Falcons tonight. Mashed potatoes and gravy. Brown gravy, preferably. Stuffing's okay, but I don't want like a lot of stuff in it. Like it's just gotta be the stuffing. Like sometimes people throw like green stuff in there. I don't do the green stuff. And I'm just okay. I'm okay with ham. I would probably actually prefer ham over turkey, but it's Thanksgiving. I'm not going to say no to a turkey. And then I'm just like a chocolate pie guy. Okay. I don't mind coconut cream pie, but I'm not really like an apple or anything like that. Banana cream's okay, too. I give you like 5 there. You said 3.
I'm going to have to – number 1 will always be green bean casserole. It's by far the greatest thing you could ever serve at any day of the year.
Especially hot. Really hot. Yes.
Oh, yes. Number 2 is probably there's a cabbage salad that my family makes that I really enjoy. Number 3, probably mashed potatoes and gravy. And I think this year, I don't think we're doing a turkey. I think there's only a small amount of us getting together. So I think we're going to do something different, which I told my parents it's kind of a crime not to do turkey on Thanksgiving because it's Thanksgiving. But I'm not the one footing the bill and I'm not the one making it. So who am I to say anything?
Right. Like you can't complain about what you're going to have for Thanksgiving if you're no help at all.
Right. Exactly.
I get it. Shout out to my mom for making us a Thanksgiving meal coming up soon. So yeah, looking forward to that, but I am taking no part in it. So I will literally eat what she puts out there. I'll probably eat a lot of it.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about the NFL and we'll do the 3 Thanksgiving games for our pick'em. Lions.
Yeah, don't.
You're going Lions over Bears.
Yeah, it's in Detroit. No, I mean no, but yeah, sure, why not? I'll take the Lions. They somehow like I don't know what's going to happen. It's some kind of freak. Something's going to happen. It's going to be a weird game. Lions get beat in Cleveland this weekend, and then they beat the Bears next weekend, and Matt Nagy gets fired Thanksgiving night.
I see. Yeah, the Bears are never going to fire Nagy this season. They're going to do it after the season.
They will when
Um,
they will after they're 3-8 when they lose to the Ravens this week and they lose to the Lions on Thursday. Thanksgiving night on the flight home, Matt Nagy fired.
we'll see. I'll take Chicago. Then we'll go Las Vegas at Dallas. Cowboys, I think they're honestly going to be in the Super Bowl this year. I think they're the team to beat in the NFC.
I will take the Cowboys. They don't lose on Thanksgiving this year. I wish the Raiders were better, but they're not. So I'll take the Cowboys.
Then the last game, Buffalo at New Orleans. I'm going to take Buffalo. I was a lot, higher on them at the beginning of the year, but I just don't think New Orleans has got anything, really.
Yeah, that's my AFC team, the Buffalo Bills. That was my Super Bowl team. And the Rams, oof, I am struggling right now, but both still in contention to make the playoffs. Buffalo wins this game in front of a big audience, a national TV game. Because you're right, the Saints don't have anything. Trevor Siemian, no thank you. They don't have any receivers.
He has played all right. I will give him credit. He has played okay.
5 touchdowns, no interceptions. You're right, but they just don't. They just don't. They're no good. Like, that team's not very good. Like, he can move the ball, but they can't score.
They have no playmakers.
Yeah, now I mean Alvin Kamara is really good, and he'll likely play in this one eventually. But I think Buffalo figures it out. It's a one-man show. Did you know the last time Buffalo and the Saints played, it's been 4 years, and the Saints won 47-10. I was just looking at that score as a blowout. Yeah, back in 2017. Things you didn't know that you know now.
Random knowledge from Rodney Newpol. There you go. No, but looking at the NFL this year, I mean, the NFC, I feel, is very kind of hit and miss. It's kind of, you're seeing a lot of teams lose a lot of questionable games. You saw Dallas get their doors blown off by Denver. You watch Buffalo get manhandled by Jacksonville. The Ravens lost to Miami. Now, Miami is really underachieved this year, in my opinion. I expected Miami to be a lot better of a team than what they were this year. But with that being said, the Ravens aren't very good. They've kind of overachieved, in my opinion. Won some games that they probably shouldn't have. But we're still in our division, so I'm not going to complain.
Hear me out on the Dolphins. 3-7. At the Jets, 4-7. With the Panthers, 5-7. With the Giants, 6-7. With the Jets, 7-7. At the Saints, but 7-7 going into the Saints, that's playoff material. Look out for the Dolphins. I think they could get hot. I think Brian Flores is a better coach than he gets credit for.
He is, and I really like Brian Flores. And that Carolina game, I think with Cam now, it's going to be – Carolina looked good last week against Arizona, but Arizona didn't have a lot of their players, so it is what it is. But, I don't – the most consistent team, I think, all around is probably the Cowboys. I mean, that offense is besides one game, has been unstoppable all year. They just gave Brady the ball, with too much time in week 1. Other than that, they'd be, a one-loss team.
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta, I don't know what happened in that game. Or not Atlanta, the Broncos. I'm not sure what happened. It was 30-0. I don't understand what happened there, but you're probably right because we've seen the Rams fall apart a little bit. We've seen Buffalo in the AFC fall apart a little bit. Green Bay has been fine. I mean, they're 8-2. Tampa Bay fell apart a little bit. Obviously they're still head of the class. I don't think we're sold on Arizona quite yet. They got to get Kyler back first. Your Ravens, Titans are kind of winning with smoke and mirrors without Derrick Henry now, 8-2. Colts are playing well, 5-5. I don't know if they'll make the playoffs. They're playing better though at 5-5. And then the AFC West is a mess. So Kansas City's going to figure it out though. Kansas City, Dallas this week, right?
Yes. And the biggest thing is what I hate about sports media is we overreact at everything. And, everyone's, Kansas City's back to a dynasty. No, as the best analogy that I think I've ever heard is, no, they figured out how to turn the stove on again and they learned how to play football again.
I mean, they're still pretty good though.
No, they are, but it went from the fall of the Roman Empire to now, just the greatest comeback and all. It's like, come on, let's relax here a bit.
I'm with you. Hey, update Xavier 54-49, 5:11 to go there in Cincinnati. So maybe an upset.
We'll see. But I think we're at about 45 minutes. We're a little over our time, but that's all right. I appreciate you hopping on tonight, and we're definitely have to do this again.
Yeah, no problem, man. NFL tonight. I think it's a boring game, but Falcons win, and nobody cares about the Patriots except for you, Tanner, and Dave Portnoy. That's it.
That's it for us here tonight on the Colten Kahler Show. He's Rodney Newpol. I'm Colten Kahler. We might see you next week. I don't know. We'll find out. But that's for another day.
That's the beauty. You don't have to. If you want to, you can. If you don't, you don't.
Right. Well, we'll see. We'll see. But that'll do it for us here this week. Thanks for joining in. We'll see you next week.